Chidambaram, the former Finance and Home Minister of India, is taking potshots at the government on the GDP when he was questioned on his interrogation by the CBI.
Sir, you want to say anything? You have been 15 days now. Sir, you want to say
5%.
What 5%, sir?
What is 5%?
GDP.
You remember 5%?
So,
that's the concept.
what is this 5%? Sir, you want to say anything? You have been 15 days now. Sir, you want to say
5%.
What 5%, sir?
What is 5%?
GDP.
You remember 5%?
So,
that's the concept.
what is this 5%?
5% clearly hitting out at the status of the economy.
I don't know whether he's hinting at the government's lack of good economic performance or his own collection of 5% on every FIPB clearance that he gave. But anyway, even to say he's talking about the 5% that we are now down to in the economic performance. I have been saying since 2015 that the negative decisions of the previous government, UPA, which is set into motion, have a lagged effect. And from next year, and it appeared as an op-ed article in Hindu, and every year I have published this. I said it's a tailspin that is started and it can end up as a crash. So these steps that were taken, we should not repeat because it will have a negative effect. One of them was GST, which actually Chidambaram had brought, but he couldn't get it through. And then the business of collecting taxes and distributing taxes, indirect taxes by a private limited company in which Infosys got 4,000 crores. And ICICI Bank and HFDC Bank and all were there. And I said, if you want that, you must have an Indian government company. If you have you have Indian banks who are owned by the government, you can use that. Why should you use HDFC and ICICI? So like that. So in all these things came together, and what has happened is that I would say that if our government is responsible to the extent that none of them understood economics. Neither did Jaitley nor Prime Minister. Prime Minister I don't blame. He doesn't need to know every subject. But his finance minister must know. And as a consequence, we didn't correct for it. And today we have this mess.
No, but when you have a former finance minister like Mr. P. Chidambaram, because we know the economic condition during the UPA regime as well. So isn't it quite ironical that now you have Chidambaram coming out and commenting on the...
I don't know whether it means our economic performance or the fact that everybody is collecting 5%. It's a signal to Sonia Gandhi, if you don't protect me, I'm going to come out. How many 5% things you got? I don't know what it means, because he's obviously unbalanced. Why? Because he's telling the court through his lawyer that he's 74 years old, so please don't send me to judicial custody, keep me in custodial interrogation jail of CBI. Now, custodial interrogation is saying you're all alone, and it is a sort of a depressing place. Whereas judicial custody means that you are free to watch television, you get a category jails and so on, and you get even food from outside from your home. So this man he's lost his rationality that he should be asking for custodial interrogation.
You just mentioned a while back that had Congress not done the deeds that they had done, the economy would not have been what it is right now. So do you think that our economy would have been better had we not been getting the ripple effects of the previous regime?
Absolutely. Take, for example, our airline industry. What did the Congress do? They gave all profitable routes to the Arab airlines. Jet Etihad, why is Jet in this mess? Because the Congress forced him to have a deal with Etihad. And to compensate for Etihad losing a 2G spectrum license case. Because Etisalat was also owned by the same owner as the owner of Etihad. So like that, there are so many things that have been done, which... and the corruption angle, for example, today our resources are not available because it's all gone in corruption. All these banks Do you think that Nirav Modi was not what they did? They changed the bank gold policy 4 days before Narendra Modi took his oath of office. It's of course a mistake of Mr. Jaitley that he didn't correct for it. And he didn't put out a lookout notice for Malia and all that. But all this was happened during their period, UPA period.
All right, thank you so much for talking to Times Now. So that was Mr. Subramanian Swamy with video journalist Himanshu, Aditi and Narayanan in Delhi.
Well, that's precisely the point, isn't it? And Priyank Tripathi, if I can come back to you. What P. Chidambaram seems to very conveniently forget is the number of scams that have been reported from UPA. The fact that he is the one who had even conceptualized GDP, as he was the finance minister at the time, today blaming the NDA for it.
See, Major, our question was very specific, that what do you have to reply on the extension of police custody, because this is not a normal thing. He was a former union minister, and in fact for 23 years, if you count, he had been in the cabinet and at some point of time being a minister in the centre. But instead of replying to that question, Mr. Chidambaram preferred to politicize this issue and take a jibe on the centre. But he did not utter a single word that what fault of his has landed him in this kind of trouble, which has certainly been an embarrassment for the party, although the party has been coming out openly and protecting him through various series of press conferences. But fact of the matter is that it's Mr. P. Chidambaram who is in the police custody of the premier investigating agency in the corruption cases. The allegation on him is of misuse of power while he was the finance minister, and instead of talking about his finance minister's regime where corruptions were done, where all these big people like Indranee Mukherjee and Peter Mukherjee were given undue favors by taking bribe, this is the allegation of the CBI has been. He preferred to talk about the present GDP, which is certainly is not in a good condition according to the government data. So instead of talking about the sins of the past, he preferred to talk about the present. Absolutely. And the struggle of the government to revive the economy, which has totally been ignored by Mr. Chidambaram, which we can see as of now.